7:30 left to go here in a second. Look at all that. Oh my God. Paul George taking his shoulder. And here he is, guarding Paul George.
None of that's going to matter, though, if they can get stops on this side.
Tough shot, Paul George.
Basketball and give it to the right people quickly.
You brought up a point about the Clippers' defense. It switches almost everything, and it was something that Mark Daigneault really emphasized.
Shot clock at 8. George goes to work. George.
Good time you'd actually brought the heat up harder to Monday Reed.
Excellent defense here from Eric Gordon, and you know Paul George's game winner. Right back, listen, good at 40. And guys, like the great Craig Ackerman told me, I have no control over the game. I'm just here talking prematurely sometimes.
And the tie did not last very long.
I'll say it again, it doesn't take much for a shooter to see the rim, and Jalen seeing the rim.
14 third quarter points now. Tough turnaround for George. 9 of 27 from 3. The Clippers 10 of 24. LA still shooting just a tad bit over 50%. Now add to that.
Going to the Lakers, and they got routed in the finals, so it all worked out.
Gotta throw that in there. Thank you.
Paul George, it's another 1-point lead, largest of the night for the silver and black. Paul George. This is steadying forward. Then just made sure he got the bucket.
Smart play. You want to show off in that situation, but just get the bucket.
Paul George counters to keep.
You know, one thing, just like when we played against San Antonio, you have to do with this Utah team, you can't allow them just to move the basketball freely. If so, they'll pick you apart. That's why they're efficient.
LeVert played on 3 teams the last 3 seasons. George, a step back, foul circle jumper, it is good. Paul George.
Coming off a season-high 18 points in their game Monday. No points in the previous 2 games. George on the baseline, that's his spot. You see that all leads into his 10-8. The intensity is picked up on both ends by both teams. George, tough shot, rattles it down.
Curry coming off of ankle surgery. Had his best game of the season against the Knicks the other day. George, a step away. It's good. The first.
Give this home crowd something to cheer for.
George spinning in the lane over the top of KPJ.
That's tough. Talked about it.
Earlier in the quarter. Luka off the rim, no good. The foul on the Clippers a moment ago. They're 4th in the quarter. The quarter has 2:22 left in it as Paul George makes his. Is that guy going to be, or whomever did that, guy or girl who made the paper airplane?
It's their first shots of the ball game.
You see them trying to corral Paul George as he pushes the ball in transition.
George, long 2, knocks it down. That's very welcome. Paul was Jarmit. George goes to work on Richardson, creates space, steps back.
Kelly is really being patient. And his first step is quick tonight.
That would have brought the house down. Hornets last led way back in the first quarter, 8-6. It's been a long time.
Paul George is going to start as long as Gordon Hayward is out and getting more minutes.
Clipper lineup back fully loaded. Paul George, Kawhi.
Position coming off the bench. Very rare to see a guy as accomplished as that coming off the bench at this point of his career because due to injury.
Paul George, a baseline splash for him.
He's just going to stay there, but that's his M.O.
He grew up just outside of Boston. George, another 2, and it goes for Paul George. A long way to go. Leonard on the prowl, gives it over to Senior. Good ball movement here to start things off for the second half for the Clippers. Long 2 for George, it settles in. Paul George with 15.
Test your wares against the best.
I don't mean to rub it into you, but the pretzels there in Philadelphia are awesome.
Absolutely next level. George.
Front iron. George pulls up and hits a mid-range of his own.
That 2-man
game with Harden is a tough one because you've got to respect Harden's drive.
Paul George, mid-range game.
Marcus Morris with the rebound. Paul George rocks that dribble, rises and fires and fills it up.
He's a good one-on-one player. In fact, when you look...
Paul George, Jalen Duren on him. To the baseline. Shot is... comes right back to him. Gives it up to Reggie Jackson, gets it back. Flipping the ball around to the Clippers. Paul George stops and fires and fills it up.
Assist. That will go as an assist.
He has 5 dimes to go with 16 points. Paul George with a shot right down the middle.
Pass me to the bench, Matt.
And hopefully he returns. Raptors can catch a break. Here's Paul left hand. 2:40 left. George behind the back. Step back. Bucket.
George takes it. George is setting up. They clear it out for him. He comes out shooting.
Who I thought played a heck of a game the other night as well. So he's feeding off of that game he played against the Cavs, but he's bringing some offense with him.
Paul George has...
He's going to be more of a scorer, is what I think. But I understand your point. I think it's a valid point. At 6'4", that's strong. You would much rather...
Position defense by the Clippers by not getting back, getting set.
Clippers just 2-7 in their last 9 games. That included a 6-game losing streak.
Career is 36% on threes. Dinwiddie missed inside. Paul George trying to get himself going. He just made a 3.
Especially at this juncture in the game.
And just 65% today, not going to get it done. And then percentage-wise, 57, 58%. And the Mavericks are languishing around 50% today. Paul George, a contest.
Now, George working with Zubats. Little step back. Boy, you can't guard that. Clock hits 6. Beverly's on George. George got to get one up here. Beverly all over it. Oh, what a tough shot.
Cleveland back-to-back this weekend. Chicago, Milwaukee, and then Knicks and Nets for the Clippers. George lets it fall. He's got some talent. Lakers, they did a double-digit lead in that game. George taking on Keldon Johnson, turns the corner from 20. Paul George now with
7-6 LA. Paul George, of course, played for Nate at Indiana. Takes the mid-ranger and knocks it down. 32-28. Peachy from the dotted line.
That's so...
Will drive it on Hunter. Spins, gives it back. Paul George with Murray on him. Paul goes to the corner, fakes and fires. A lot of games at such a young age. George contested by Dosuba, but there's the size of Paul George. You can just shoot over the top.
Antetokounmpo, the reigning Eastern Conference Player of the Week, the 3rd award for him. Paul George, little fadeaway, and you got a couple of strong 6th Man of the Year candidates with these two teams. Norman Powell for the Clippers and Bobby Portis for the Bucks. George again as Holiday misses. What are you seeing from Marcus Morris?
Well, he's missed those last 4 games. When he came out of the game in the first half, he looked uncomfortable and he met with the equipment staff.
Education, employment, and advocacy. Scan the QR code or head to Knicks.com/BHN to place your bids. George. Really made it happen in transition. 27-6 Nets at fast break points. George, the fancy dribble run.
It's all started with getting stops.
George, fend off and jumper. Leonard for George. O'Neal there defensively. The spin and fade. It rolls around. Right over there. That's where he did it. They'll probably put a mark there on that. It was what a special night for LeBron.
I saw Mark Cuban talking in an interview, and he said, you know, Luka's the best ball handler in the world. No, that's not true.
Finney Smith gone.
George, difficult shot, gets it in the ball. How many times you see putting guys in position to make decisions? George shoots over Irving.
For Milwaukee.
Yeah, there's no question. He took 2 steps after he had picked the ball up. Just a careless mistake on his part.
George double jumper, and he'll pull back in the first half. Giannis took a spill, but appears to be okay. Clippers are back the other way. Down by 3. Tough shot for George. Knocks it over the top.
There's a lead the league in assists at 30 a game, so we know sharing the basketball is not the problem.
Paul George, the pull-up pop for PG-13.
So good. I mean, he has a
feel is that. Well, it's different now because I think you front load your schedule, so you're playing the bulk of your games early, so you don't have a lot of time to make up for it to Paul George with a few
conference standings, with Phoenix holding just a half-game lead over the Clippers. This is George, gets to the elbow, that mid-range, elite level.
Clippers with 24 threes tonight. If you wonder, 25 is the franchise high. Jordan for both teams. Clippers have first crack at it here. The extra session. Clippers will last in overtime in Madison Square Garden. George for the lead, puts it in.
Aaron Gordon has worked so well together this year. And how many times? It's several times. It's not once or twice. It's been a number of times.
Trying to figure out rotations, who fits best. Clippers a much deeper team. And they certainly have finals year out of Washington. Still just 22 years of age. George, another mid-range is good. George forcing the turnover, gets the steal. Halfway through this third quarter, here's George going to work on Gobert. Little fadeaway is true. Tough shot. Paul George with 20 now.
Going to be able to get that dump pass to Domas.
Kings on top by 4. Look at the defense played by Keegan as George stepped back.
Bain, alley-up, stolen by Leonard. Poor decision that time from Desmond Bain. Here comes George. Pull up, jump shot. Got it. A 40-point night.
Doc Rivers? Yeah, with 6'4", similar build. I'm not Doc, though.
And some timely possessions last year for the Clippers. Hartenstein unable to knock it down there.
No, those were not threes. They were floating.
His team leads by 2. That should be a major concern for the Clippers. Because you know he can get it going in any quarter. George knocks it down. He has good.
Game analyst, NBA referee, and sideline reporter.
This is the nicest you've ever been. I'm waiting for the butt.
I still want to know have a little starch on.
Morris was there. He's got to step up a little bit earlier to stop him from rolling to the rim.
George can't get inside. Lets it go from plenty of time on the clock, so he goes to work, gets into the paint, whips a head-high pass in the corner of the pole. Finds the shoot, muscles off Wagner, who tries to sell the contact.
A suit for a win. What an exchange.
That's a pretty. I've seen some of the suits you wear, Coach Machado. Thunder by 4. George trying to show off the handles, can't get around getting. He gets to the free throw line and knocks it down. George rises from 20. Oh, it's good again.